Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back. If you didn't catch it, I'm going to put it up on the screen again. And there you go, lingua.com/Dutch/reading/brief. So that's the website that I got the letter from. And apparently in Dutch, they call a letter a brief, as in a briefing or a legal brief. Those are two ways of remembering it. Part of the reason I'm doing these is to build familiarity, and by being persistent and consistent with it, I'm hoping to build familiarity. That's part of the reason I'm including the pronunciation key. I've been using Grok General AI to help with the pronunciation key. So the name Jack phonetically is JAK on this card, and in a future card it changes it to YAK. I've been under the impression that it's more of a YAK, but because initially it gave it as a JAK, that's why it's included here. And that addresses one aspect that I wanted to cover, and that is persistence is what separates success and competency versus just skill. Because if you've got skill, it doesn't matter unless you are able to hone that skill, and that requires persistence. So I've included the phonetic key. The big lesson is locate Dutch speakers, listen to how they pronounce it, and make your notations based upon that and correct for it. Otherwise, if you keep practicing it, regardless of the phonetic key, if you're practicing it wrong, you're going to learn it wrong. So you want to do what's called a stage check. In aviation parlance, that's what Part 141 does, is a stage check. And it's actually a pretty novel idea because with your stage check in flying, by completing all of them, you essentially bypass your cumulative flight exam because you've done stage checks. Doing a stage check in learning a language, you're able to recognize what it is you're doing incorrect and correct for it before it becomes a hardened habit. Now that we've got that under the covered, one of the other aspects I want to go into is that it's part of the going back to persistence. That is the reason that I'm including this brief that I pulled from the Lingua website with the questions and with these answers, in addition to the storybook, in addition to the simple conversations, is by being persistent at it and by demonstrating the similarities between Dutch and English words. I'm hoping to create anchors that when I come across the Dutch language, that I'll be able to recognize automatically. Because as you already are probably aware, when you read, you don't read one word at a time, you're reading in clumps. And so when you see something, you see portions of the sentence before you focus on it and start to interpret it. And that's what I'm going for with all of the anchor words, is trying to find those similarities, those parallels, so that when you see it, you recognize that one is Dutch, and two, that yes, that word is similar to the English word for fill in the blank. And here are 5 questions, though, from the brief between Jack and Marcel. Twee stellingen, in the Roman numeral 1, 1. Jack heeft het na zijn zijn in Nederland. 2. Ja, heeft moeite met de Nederlands grammatica. A. Alleen 2 is juist. B. Beide antwoorden zijn juist. C. Alleen 1 is juist. D. Beide antwoorden zijn onjuist. Now, if you haven't already figured out, the subject of the sentence is yak, Jack, whichever pronunciation you want to use. And so you already know that that he's the subject. The other part is the end of the sentence, in Nederland, in the Netherlands. All right, so we already know that the sentence is presenting Jack in the Netherlands. So after that, you have to learn what it is that's going on in that sentence of what these words represent. We already know that het is either going to be it or the, and heft, yeah, is essentially have, H-A-V-E, not half, but have, as in, you know, Jack have, or Jack, for past tense, or present tense rather, Jack has. So pick up on those cues to be able to understand what's being asked and be or presented. And then twee, Jack heeft moeite met de Nederlandse grammatica. All right, we already know about Jack. We know about heeft. We know about de Nederlandse of the Netherlands, because de in Dutch is the. So remember, het is either it and the. It may be more than that, but at least so far, it's either it or the. And de is the. So het and de are articles, if I'm not mistaken, and I probably am. But and then grammatica, we already know, based off the similarity of the word, is grammar. The grammar. So Jack have moeite met the Netherlands grammar. All right, so Jack has the Netherlands grammar. So then the next steps would be having the dictionary to look up the word that is not being defined by the phonetic key, and to proceed from there to be able to answer the question. Alleen 2 is juist. De antwoorden zijn juist. Alleen 1 is juist. Beide antwoorden zijn onjuist. All right, the length of this video has taken more time than I anticipated. I'll follow up with the other 3 questions, hopefully in the next video, if not just the next question.